Hello Taurus, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. If Taurus is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. And if there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Taurus, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And wow, beautiful, beautiful Six of Cups. That's going to be our starting point for today, okay? And that is a lot of ease. This is a lot of pleasure. This is a lot of very balanced and harmonious energy. It is kind of the, it's the satisfaction of not a desire, but kind of a deeper spiritual will, right? That Six of Cups. We got that Death card covering it today. So let's see. Oh, we've got a lot of powerful cards today. A lot of powerful cards. I think that you're going to be experiencing this very big win, this very kind of pleasurable success, right? That feels like it is a fulfillment of your kind of spiritual purpose. I see that there's going to be a lot of effort to sustain that. Okay. Well, let's finish up with the path of the Serpent. So many really, really powerful cards today. Let me move some of these things over. These are really, really strong cards. A lot of major arcana. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to be using Smith Waite as we usually do for our frog card, our mystery card, confirmation card, bonus card. We're going to set it down right here. We'll put Kevin right on top, aka Mr. Bates. And that card, hopefully, will tie everything together, give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. Okay, so Taurus, let's take a look. Let's just count how many cards we have, right? Because we have major, 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 major. So a lot of majors. We do have some fire energy. We do have some water energy. We do have a little bit of air energy. What I can see us missing right now, though, is the earth energy. Okay, and that could be what this Death card right here in the middle is talking about. It's a way for us to transform this from the realm of kind of idea, of spiritual fulfillment, of will, of pleasure, of this kind of internal thing, into something practical, into the real world. It's kind of a card about manifestation, but it's about taking something that exists, in this case, internally, and applying the necessary forces to it. We see a little bit of water, we see a little bit of fire, we're mixing all that up together, and we create this kind of alchemical process where we are able to transform this, again, from something internal to something that exists in the real world, right? Something that we can live out and experience outside of ourselves, right? It's almost a projection in a way. But let's start with the Six of Cups, okay? I think you're somebody who has, you have an intense need to express yourself. I think Taurus is very much a sign that likes to feel connected with the environment in a way that creates this kind of, creates a Six of Cups, right? Creates this kind of harmony and pleasure and peace, right? Because the Six here, this is all about connection. This is about how we are going to take the kind of, the divine impulse, the spiritual will, right? How we are going to mirror it, both in ourselves, and how we are going to then reflect that out to the environment. So it really is this card about harmony and connection and balance, cooperation in a sense, right, between the kind of raw materials of the world and ourselves. And I think Taurus really does appreciate those things. You appreciate an environment that resonates with you, that kind of harmonizes with you, a place where you feel inspired, comforted, where you feel loved and welcomed, where you feel accepted, right? I feel like that's what we're kind of working to create here. We're looking to create this Six of Cups. We want heaven to be mirrored here on earth, right? And I think that this is important to you, for you to connect with your environment, for you to feel like your environment is an expression of you, okay? I think that's important. We have this Death card that kind of crosses this over. Now, this Death card is very interesting because it rules the sign of Scorpio, which is your shadow side. It is the opposite sign of Taurus, right? So I wonder if this is a situation where there's a certain part of you that is trying to get out, trying to get expression. Kind of your silent self, your true self even, is trying to express itself, right? And that's, I think therein lies the struggle. Yeah. It might be we're in a situation now where we are not experiencing that kind of harmony with the world, with our environment, with home, with work, friends or family, with, whatever it is about your external life, right? Your environment. This is kind of showing me that we are deeply needing to express ourselves in our environment. This could be something simple like just redecorating your house or something, right? Or changing the clothes that you wear to be more in line with who you are and how you feel, right? But it goes deeper than that, right? Our environment is not just things, right? It's not just these objects that we have. Our environment is the energies that surround us, people, the places, the things. And I think that there is this deeper part of you, this kind of shadow Scorpio part, that wants to express that needs to have that kind of experience, that needs to connect, needs to have an environment that is welcoming and comforting and beautiful and inspiring, right? So I wonder if there's some kind of, if you're going to be started on some sort of transformation in your external world, so that it can be more in line with your goals, let's look above here, your spiritual will. This is the Ace of Wands. This is the beginning of really a process of creation, right? And it's you being so deeply in touch with yourself, with God, Goddess, deity, with your own spirit and soul, that we can reflect this ace. Because see, the ace and the six, these are mirror images, right? The three, yes, it's the Trinity that is also a unity. So in effect, this is the ace. And then below here, this is you, and this is the reflection, right? So the sixes are the reflection of the ace. And that's, I think, what we're trying to do. And we understand, going from fire to water, we understand our emotional need for an environment that has this quality, right? That reflects who we are at our very core. That is in harmony with who we are at our very core. That is accepting and loving and tolerant and, all of these kind of wonderful things. It has that emotional flavor to it, right? But the recent past, this Hanged Man, it seems kind of like we've been maybe sacrificing the Six of Cups for the greater good, for the good of the group, for the good of the family or the company or the friends. We've been volunteering to put our own needs second, third, fourth, last, whatever. And I think it's beginning to feel as if Well, it's time to switch this around. It's time to go from water to fire, perhaps, right? Go from water to fire so that we can go back to, well, this good water here. So, what have we been doing? Well, I think that while we have this kind of Six of Cups need, this need to be within us a reflection of our spirit, and our environment needs to be a reflection of that, right? I think that you've been putting the needs of others before yourself. I don't know if you're part of a larger family, if you live with a lot of people, if you have a larger friend group, it could be the people at work. But I feel as if your needs are not being prioritized, whether by you or by the environment, it doesn't matter. But I don't think that they are very high on the list right now. Okay. I think you're beginning to realize this. And while this is a conscious choice, the Hanged Man has volunteered to be in this position, I think you're realizing it's kind of time to come down from this. It's time to maybe flip this around and instead of immersing ourselves, putting our true needs lower and lower, it's time to be triumphant. It's trying to emerge and say, maybe it's time for you now, right? And maybe that sounds a little harsh. Maybe that sounds a little selfish. But look at the card we have in the immediate future. It's this Seven of Wands. Meeting with some obstacles for sure, right? The way forward is not going to be easy. It's not just going to be this lovely kind of water. If I just go with the flow, if I just kind of adapt to the situation with these watery qualities, that my environment will be more supportive, let's say. And we can use any of these adjectives that we want to describe the kind of environment that'll give us this satisfied Six of Cups feeling, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily, it's not maybe a support issue, maybe it's not an expression, a creativity issue, maybe it's not a love kind of issue, whatever the detail is that you want to insert here that makes this a Six of Cups, there are going to be some obstacles to it. We can't just adapt and be so yielding and expect things to turn out the way we want. We have to put a little bit of our effort into it. So we do see some fire energy. See, these are all water cards. The Hanged Man is water. The Death card is water. The Six of Cups obviously is water. That's the watery half of this Art or Temperance card. The other half is the fire. Fire, fire, fire. We're counterbalancing all of this water with all of this fire. And that's kind of a delicate process, right? We understand that with this Justice or Adjustment card, that this is a delicate process. But this is your strategy. This is how you are accomplishing this through a little bit of this, a little bit of that, keeping things in the right balance, the right measure, right? So the Art or Temperance card. This is the strategy. Like I said, this is, it's kind of the experiment. It's kind of pushing a little bit and seeing what the reaction is. Seeing what kind of response you get when you assert yourself or when you start to prioritize your own environmental needs, right? The kind of life that you want to see, right, around you, right? And again, this could be all sorts of things. It could just be redecorating the rooms in your house. It could be you don't want to live there anymore. It could be that you don't want to work there anymore. It's not necessarily about leaving any particular place. Doesn't mean you have to quit your job. Doesn't mean you have to leave home and move. But it means that we need to assert our needs, communicate our needs. We do have air energy here too, somewhere. There's a little bit. We need to communicate those needs, see what kind of a response we get, right? Let's start as close to the water as we can and depending on our response, here's the air energy, depending on the response, we'll maybe move the dial a little bit closer to the fire. And we'll use as much fire as we need to get the job done, but not any more than what we need, right? We don't want to just turn the dial all the way full fire energy. We're starting in the water. Let's just by degrees ease ourselves back. Maybe we could find some place in the center, right? That's the ideal. Now, when looking at these cards again, I'll try to put them back where they were. We see that this is not a selfish thing, that this is coming from your essential need. It's coming from God, Goddess, Deity, from your spirit, from your soul. It's not just, well, I want to have pizza for dinner. And so we're just going to throw a tantrum until we get what we want in our environment. No, this is a deeper need. Like I said, this is something that is essential to the way that you are experiencing your life and the kind of life that you want to live and the feeling that you want to have when your life, when your environment is a reflection of you, of your spirit, right? Not just your moment-to-moment desires or whims. Okay, it's deeper than that. The Seven of Wands, yes, there is that resistance. And I think sometimes you may feel like it's really not worth the effort, that it's just going to cause too much disruption. We don't have a tower here yet, okay? But I think that you're worried it might become a tower. As in, you start asserting yourself, we start to move the dial a little bit toward the fire, and the response you get from your environment is not very accepting, right? So I think part of you may feel like it's just not even worth it, right? I think Taurus doesn't really get enough credit for being supremely adaptable, right? Adaptable. Any situation you find yourself, I think you find a way to thrive, right? You find a way to make it work for you. And that's wonderful. Now it's time for you to have a little bit more say in what that environment is, what that situation is. We're going to move to the path of the serpent now. We start off with this Queen of Cups. There's a lot of water energy here. This is basically a reflection of this Hanged Man, right? This is the way we're kind of looking at this situation. And it seems, I kind of get this feeling, part of this reluctance, really. And I think it's just our hesitation to go to the fire side of things, right? To be more assertive by degrees until we could reach some sort of a balance here. Because I see that's really the ultimate goal, is a sort of balance. But I think that we've been under this water for so long. We've been this kind of Hanged Man for a while now, that it's getting difficult to see the surface. It's getting difficult to see the sunlight up above there, down at these depths, maybe there's a lot of water. There's a lot of pressure, for one thing, right? When you're deep diving, there's a lot of water pressure. And there's also, the light is very refracted. It's very obscured. You can't really see the surface. It just maybe some twinkling lights kind of going around like that. Now, I haven't scuba dived, but I imagine it's a pretty odd experience, being that far down, and it's like a different world. I think this is the world that you've adapted to. You've gotten used to this. So it's difficult now to transform this kind of water, this Hanged Man water, through the heat of the fire, to kind of ferment that into something more pure, more spiritual, more reflective of your essential needs, right, with the Six of Cups. Because this Scorpio energy, this again, it's that silent self in you that's trying to get out. It's trying to correct this situation a little bit. And maybe the Seven here is the way that this silent self of yours, this shadow side, expresses itself in maybe moments of short-temperedness. Maybe we just get easily frustrated or easily annoyed at things, right? And that's the silent self that is expressing its dissatisfaction. Kind of comes out when maybe you snap at somebody, maybe you're short with someone at work and you think, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't realize I was being short. I don't know why, it's from these more unconscious feelings and drives. Yeah. So anyway, down here in this water energy, it's difficult to see what's on the surface, but look at this next card is the lust or strength card. Now this is, it kind of reminds me of somebody who is down beneath the surface, reaching up and pulling that sunlight, that spiritual energy, whatever that is, pulling that down, bringing that into your life. And the cat's here to confirm. Always lovely when she shows up. This is in your environment now, okay? Let's see if the cat wants to hang out and read some cards. Here she is. All right. So, the lust or strength card in the environment, okay? And I think this is now the idea that through our assertiveness, through our confidence, through our courage, we can create the kind of world that we want. We can have the kind of relationship with our life, essentially, with our environment, that we really desire and crave at a very fundamental spiritual level. Now, this isn't really about dominance. This isn't about losing our temper. It's not about control or aggression, right? This is the idea of, well, it's kind of the idea of harmony, right? Kind of taming the beast, right? Understanding, becoming friends or allies with that Scorpio energy, with our unconscious self, so that it doesn't cause any kind of disruption, so that Seven of Wands doesn't really progress or materialize, right, in that kind of chaos or disruption, or through those moments of short-temperedness or annoyance or frustration. This is now we're getting to know the beast, right, that silent self. And we're realizing that that is the totality of ourselves, our conscious mind plus our unconscious mind, right? The true self. Higher and lower, the inner and outer, conscious and unconscious. By combining those energies, we really achieve a sort of power. That's not, again, it's not an aggressive or a dominating power. It's a magical kind of power. It is the power to create. It is really the expression of this. It's the way that we can fully let this spiritual light and force and fire flow through us. Yeah. What we are striving for, of course, is the balance. We need balance. I think this is the position of what we don't want. Why don't we want this Libra energy, this justice or adjustment energy? Why don't we want this balance card? Well, I think because things have been, well, looking at it in one way, they've been a little unfair, right? And it really is no one's fault. It just happens to be where we ended up and how we've adapted to the situation around us. We found ourselves in that hanged man, this water, the initial kind of water stage. And it may seem quite unfair. It may seem like the scales are really tipped not in our favor, right? So there's part of us, I feel like, a very natural instinct, that I don't want to just bring it back to even. I want to be up for a while, right? So we don't want the equal kind of flow of energy. No, I want the pendulum to swing my way for a while, right? So I understand why we may be rejecting this card. But at the same time, we need this card because this is, I feel like this is the ultimate state that we want to achieve, right? And by going to either extreme, either too much water or too much fire, like we said here with the Art or Temperance card, if we're going too much with the water or we're going too much with the fire, neither of these are very good, right? All this fire is the chaos and the disruption and basically a tower moment. And then all of this water energy is us basically yielding to the will of everything else around us, everyone and everything. So we really are trying to achieve this balance, you know. Some people have said that I move the cards around too much and that I don't identify them. So I'm sorry that I have a habit of moving the cards around, but I think it's worth it to illustrate what we're talking about, and I'm going to keep doing it. Okay. We need this equilibrium because that is how we really stay in that kind of that harmony and that flow. Right? We want that balance, and that's the only way that we're going to come out on the other side with this Six of Cups, with this perfect balance, the real reflection of our spirit. We're not going to get it in the extreme of water or in the extreme of fire. It's this balance, it's this harmony, and that is how we become a true reflection of our essential nature, our core, our spirit, whatever you want to call it. And the way to achieve this, I think, is really through as much of an objective viewpoint as we can get. First, we have to take off our mask. We have to take off our persona. We have to be willing to look at ourselves and the situation as accurately as possible, as objectively as possible. And I think that this will give us the recognition of what we are really trying to accomplish. Yeah, there's part of us that just wants to go extreme the other direction, but we know that we need to create this kind of symbiotic relationship with the world around us. And again, I don't know if this is family, friends, if this is your work thing. It could be all of these areas. Yeah. And this is the ability to communicate our needs and desires and wants in this kind of spiritual drive in an effective way. It's not an emotional communication. It's not us lashing out, right? It's a very controlled way. Yes, we have in here, this is the Queen of Swords. It's got the water in it. But the water is the Six of Cups. It is that real spiritual water, the intuitive water. And that's where we're communicating from that place of wanting this loving, compassionate, supportive, aesthetic, this whatever kind of environment we're looking for. That's where we're communicating from, right? That's the place from which we're expressing ourselves. And again, it's just kind of by degrees to see how much of the fire is actually needed here. For some of you, maybe just a little bit of fire, a little bit of communication is all it's really going to take. For others, it may be we have to put in a little bit more effort. But it's well worth it, all right? Let's see what the frog has to say. We did name the frog Kevin. It is a reference to The Office. And I'm curious if anybody has an idea of what I'm thinking of about The Office, that the reason why we kind of went with that name. Anyway, mystery card, bonus card. I wonder if this is going to be more of like a solution card. You know, I wonder if this is going to give us an idea of kind of how we go about all of this. You know, I'd like to see some earth energy. That's the only thing that's really missing here, is the actual change in the environment. We kind of see the energy around it, in it, behind it, above it, but we don't see the actual changes taking place, which I think has to really be the next step. No, interestingly, we've got the Strength card again. So I think that this really does come down to just mustering up the courage to do it, even though there's the risk of kind of the world, resisting us, right? Or us causing some sort of disruption, or causing an argument, or causing some emotions to get stirred up. We have to be courageous and brave enough to do that because it's worth it. We are worth it. You are worth it. Yeah. So I think this is ultimately what it comes down to, is just the willingness to do it, to get started doing it. Take that first step, to have the courage to just say, you know, I'm going to start right now on this path, in this process. Yeah. Maybe in the extended we'll see some of the earth energy, and we're going to go ahead and do the extended now. If you would like to stick around for the extended, click on the link that's either up here in the corner or down in the description box. New readings come out every day, 6 a.m. Chicago time. Please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next reading. Please hit the like button. Leave a comment. And, well, we'll see you again very soon. That's a good kitty. That's a good kitty.